on the side and where
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
It's not related to this to me. Right. Idiot.
I've done my best. It's hard, you know, it's real tough.
But I had to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff. Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
It's not related to this to me. But I had to put her on the side and worry about the boys. But I had to.
There is no investigation.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I had to put her. But I had to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
Welcome to the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. It is great to be here. Good to see you. Thank you, everybody who is here. And tonight we're going to talk about a little bit of, I don't know how well known this case is as far as this community or the people that watch this show. I'm guessing it's not that, I wouldn't say popular, but I'm saying well known. And before we start it, I want to say that as we go through this story, and it is quite a story, I didn't reach out to the parents, specifically the father, reached out to me, sent me an email one night just out of nowhere. And I had not heard of the case. I was kind of in the dark on it as well. I mean, it's one of those things where wherever you turn in this community, it's we cover certain cases that seem to be where the parents aren't really wanting help, where the parents aren't really the ones reaching out, specifically in the Summer Wells case. And I understand the attraction to that case. I understand that people want answers in that case. But I wouldn't be doing anybody any favors by ignoring parents who come out and ask for help. So what I'm going to ask people to do is to reserve judgment. Now, so Saturday, the parents of Dylan will join me on the show, and we will talk and have discussions. And I'm sure that everybody will be on their best behavior. We will reserve judgment. It's just one of those things that I've been criticized for it before. I've been criticized for it. People saying, oh, you don't allow people to have You don't allow people to have their own opinion in your chat or in your comments or in your, and I understand, folks, that we definitely want to have an opinion. We definitely want to be able to talk about these cases in an open way, but the flat out disrespect will not be tolerated. If you're looking to call somebody a murderer, you're in the wrong room. They will be our guests, and we will treat them as guests since they were the ones that reached out to me. And anybody who has a missing child that is willing to discuss the case is always welcome. And I have no problems speaking to them. Now, a little backstory on this case. Dylan was a 3-year-old at the time when he went missing. Tomorrow is the 2-year anniversary of his disappearance, and the parents are doing a balloon launch, and so, God bless the family and keep them in your prayers. So like I said, tomorrow is the 2-year anniversary of Dylan going missing. So we'll take a look here on the screen. I'll show you. And let me see. So Dylan went missing May 6, 2020. He's 3 years old, 32 pounds, 3 foot tall. Last seen wearing a green winter jacket with fur hood, orange lining, and USA patches on the arms and chest. Red dinosaur t-shirt, green camouflage jogging pants, white pull-up. Gray and orange rubber boots were found at the scene. And there is, I believe this is current, an $18,000 reward. If you have any information about Dylan Ehler or his whereabouts, call Crime Stoppers RCMP at 1902-893-6820 or the Truro Police at 1902-895-5351. Now the story begins May 6, 2020, a little bit after about 1:30-ish in the afternoon. Dylan was dropped off at his grandmother's house. The mother was going to have, I believe it was coffee with a friend. And as she was going to have coffee, she dropped Dylan off with the grandmother, which is her mother, Jason Ehler's mother-in-law, or I don't think that they're married, but that's the dynamic. So the grandmother says that she turns around to fuss with the dog, and Dylan, as she turns around, vanished. He's gone. She said it was a good 18 seconds that she was putting the lead on the dog. And when she turned around, Dylan was missing. We've heard this kind of situation happen a lot. People, it's one of those things, from the beginning of the story, you say 20 seconds, he's gone. Now, the grandmother believes and sticks by the fact that she says that an abduction happened. She believes that an abduction did happen. I don't know if that's the case. And I've spoken with the parents, and we will talk more about that as they go along. Search and rescue doesn't get on the ground probably for a good 2 to 3 hours. It took 3 hours for an official alert to come out, according to the timeline. And Jason will fill us in a little bit better. I did do some of my own research and checked it out. Now, if you believe that the grandmother turns around and puts the lead on the dog, turns around, and the child is vanished, what would had to have happened is somebody would have to have come into the yard and steal the child almost silently, which is, I don't know. So they find his rubber boots down at the creek. Let me see here. Here is the actual brook. It's actually a brook. We'll see here. That day, the brook was particularly high and fast moving. They find his boots down there. Both of them. They find both boots. And search and rescue are on the scene, but there is a delay. There's delays from one agency to the next. The parents are very upset about the way that it has been handled. Is there any body of water? Then you just answered my question. This goes from the brook goes into the I believe the Salmon River, into the bay, into the ocean. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And that authorities say that he was drawn to water. I don't know that to be the case. And I will ask the mother and father on Saturday when they join us. This is more so to lay the groundwork, and we will continue from there. Now, when I tell you the facts that, and there are certain facts of the case that aren't going to be popular amongst a group, and we got to be careful of the mob mentality, but I'm going to report it as it has been told to me. 4 days before the child goes missing, there's a domestic disturbance in the house where both parents go to jail. Charges were later dismissed due to them taking counseling. But there was a domestic dispute. There were also a couple videos on TikTok, and here we go again with the TikTok. One of the worst apps, I mean, of all time. I feel like an old man when I say that. It's just degrading and eroding like young people. But there was a couple unsavory, ill-timed videos. One of them was the mother singing a parody song of "Do You Want to Build a Snowman?" but it was "Do You Want to Hide a Body?" while her child sat on her lap. That's just a fact that happened. The father has also had his run-ins with the law. Some of them, or zero, seem to be related to this. But yes, there was definitely some turmoil in the house. When I spoke to Jason, he said it was the first fight that they have had in 14 years. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but I don't know if that's true or not. I have no reason to believe that he's lying to me, but he did tell me that that's what happened. Hard to believe that it would be the first time, or maybe the first time they ever, went to jail for it. But the the fact of the matter is there was some turmoil. And I am super hesitant. I've been thinking about this all day because I had a conversation with the parents of Dylan, and there are things about the case that don't sit right with me or with anybody. I have a hard time criticizing family or the family of lost children who reach out to me. I have a really, really, really hard time doing that. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to take it easy, or I'm not interested in passing judgment this soon. The facts are that Dylan was not with his parents when he went missing. He was with the grandma, and the grandmother claims that he disappeared. Now, I have a major problem with that, like most of you would. She claims that it's an abduction, but the police in the town believe that he made his way all the way to the brook, which seemed to be 2.5 blocks from where the grandmother was, walked all the way down the road. Nobody seeing him. Nobody reporting him wandering off. Just, he must be really fast. If you're, that's just my opinion. Very fast. And that he was attracted to water. And thank you guys so much for the super chats and super stickers. Thank you. So he escapes from the backyard within 18 seconds of the grandmother turning around to put the lead on the dog. She turns around and he's gone, and somehow manages to make it down the road. It's about a 3-minute walk for an adult. I don't know. They don't have 3-year-old calculations, but that's just really, really, to me, that's a red flag. The police, their stance on it is that Dylan fell into the water, that he got all the way to the water and fell in. The grandmother, first thing she said was abduction. Abduction. And we hear this one all the time. Abduction. It is possible 110% that he did escape from that backyard and make his way to the brook. But for that to be all that the grandmother knows seems odd to me. Yes, they did search all the waters. Yes. The parents gripe. The parents gripe that they were not, that the broadcasting system didn't work. That we've heard this before in the Brandy Neal case, or Michael Vaughn, Brandy Neal situation, when she was talking about the Amber Alert. Well, there was not an Amber Alert issued for this young man, again, because it didn't meet the criteria, because they didn't feel that anything criminal had happened at the time. There has to be an element of criminality to it, or possible abduction or whatever. And the fact of the matter is that there was no Amber Alert. I don't know if that would change anything in this case. I'm very green to this case, so I'm just learning about it. And Becca Ramsey says here the grandmother claimed to not know the brook was there as well as the Salmon River. She absolutely did say that. But if you think about this, the young man had to make his way in rubber boots a little ways. And would he just happen to know how to get there? I don't know. I don't know. He had a somewhat. Becca again says, grandma says he was never taken there, that she didn't know about it, that she didn't go there. Now, when I first heard about this, my initial thought was, well, what if grandma took him down there, he fell in and got swept away? And then she goes back and concocts this whole story. Well, the police call goes in a little bit after 1 or 1:30-ish. And supposedly there was a 3-hour gap for the announcement. The father of this young man, Jason, is and has been very frustrated with law enforcement since day one, and he filed a complaint against them. Now, Jason has his own issues with law enforcement, all seemingly to be unrelated to what's going on here, but nonetheless, you always take into account criminal history. But the criminal history that he has isn't abusive towards his child, nor does it seem like any of the crimes that he committed, possibly that he's been charged with, have anything to do with the disappearance of his son. And so I just want to make sure that everybody knows that I'm covering that, and we will talk about it. He's been very upfront with me about his criminal history. Now, the family is fractured. The father and mother of Dylan no longer speak to the grandmother, and the grandmother doesn't speak, vice versa. One night, Justin, the father, goes out drinking. His friend tells him, hey, let's go out, let's drink, let's see if we can just, take your mind off of it. He drinks, he becomes angry, thinking about his child, and he sends messages to the grandmother on Facebook. Never a good idea. Threatening messages. So threatening that the grandmother gets a restraining order on him. A no contact order. A no contact order. Tina Marie asks, grandma is mom's mom or dad's mom? Mom's mom. Mom's mom. Now you guys you're going to ask me questions that I don't know all the answers to, but please bear with me, as this is going to take a couple nights. And then on Saturday, you will be able to ask your questions. You'll be able to ask your questions, and then we can go from there, because like I said, but here, I do want to say this. When I scheduled the interview and both of them have agreed to come sit down and talk. And when I scheduled that for Saturday, I asked them what time would be good. Or do you have to work or whatever? He said no, but that it needed to be after 3:00 because, and this is true, he's out there looking still. He goes out every Saturday and Sunday and searches. And it used to be groups of them would go out. And as the time has passed and the 2-year mark nears, it's just him now doing the searching. So what we had to do was schedule it after he does his search, because that obviously is the most important thing. Say what you want about the man, or say about his criminal history or whatever. The man searches. He searches and searches and searches, and he wants answers, and he hasn't gotten the answers that he wants. And a part of me thinks that maybe his questions have been answered and he's not ready or willing to accept it. God bless him. He's allowed to feel that way, because I wouldn't know how to feel, nor am I comfortable criticizing somebody whose child is missing and they're out there searching. But he does search. And from the conversation that him and I had, it was somber. We talked a lot. I've kept an open mind. And I believe, my opinion is, if this man or this woman, mother and father, had anything to do with this young man's disappearance and death, they would have accepted what the police said to tell them, hey, guys, you need to accept what happened here, that Dylan drowned. He got swept away. Yes, she does, and they are still together. Absolutely, they are. They definitely are together still. And they both will be joining me Saturday. I will schedule it here in the next, after this show's over, and then we can go from there. We can talk about it from there, because and I have a lot of questions for them, and I'm sure that they're willing to take questions, but like I said, when we scheduled this, he needed to schedule it after he went searching. Janet Babb says, we have that here all the time, kids and water. They have it is not his biological, but they have an older daughter, I believe. I don't know. I'm sure that if you dig in deep enough, probably. I live 3 hours away from these folks. Justice for Dylan. But then again, lots of children are also being abducted, so it's a possibility. And Grandma says she does say that. Correct. 2 years ago tomorrow, he went missing, and it is absolutely tragic. Now here's where it gets really confusing. The father filed a complaint against the police department because he felt that they didn't act in a timely fashion, or that the chain of command was, basically he was saying that they were slow to the draw, and that more could have been done had it been faster. Hard to disagree when there are gaps in time and everybody kind of has to wait for the next sign off. So what ends up happening, he files a complaint. And once the complaint was filed, he was told by the chief of police that he is no longer he's no longer to question or not question. Sorry. He's no longer to, because he was emailing every day, banging on the door every day. It's like, and he was told that he could no longer email or talk to the lead investigator. Yes, there were no roadblocks given, which is another odd situation. Look, in a lot of these cases, a lot of these small towns like this, there was also a mass shooting just right before Dylan went missing in Nova Scotia a couple years back, which was absolutely horrifically tragic. And he was upset about a lot of things. He was upset about a lot of things. There was no barrier. There was no, and the police have doubled down and said that they would absolutely not do anything different from what they did the first time. Now, I am always weary of criticizing the police, but I can't imagine a situation in life that I've gone through where I wouldn't have done something different, even just a little something. So I don't think that police departments, just like in the Summer Wells case, just like in Michael Vaughn's case, and just like in Dylan's case here, I don't believe that a lot of these police departments ever expect something like this to happen, or that they're just not well equipped. I'm sure that they have had these things happen, but it only takes one to mess up, one major mess up, and the search or investigation is really, really damaged. It happens. I don't care what the police first impression of a missing child is, an Amber Alert needs to go out. I agree with that. And that is true. Becca Ramsey, who is very in on this, Becca, thank you. Yes, the search dogs did hit on a spot in the water, and it wasn't followed up. Now, remember, folks, let's not get too ahead of ourselves here, because Jason and I will talk about all of this. This is my introduction to the case. If it was one of their children, it'd be different. Of course it would. Of course it would. So all these questions we will ask and discuss. Once again, I'm really coming into this case. I've enjoyed the conversations that I've had with the parents, although my heart breaks for them. But we will, like I said, we will dig much more into this case. But what I don't understand is the fact of cutting off the parents. If that is in fact true, the way that they have done it, it's pretty unbelievable. Ill-timed videos. I don't know where that sound came from, but it did. This child, who, by the way, is absolutely adorable. There's a family that they're pretty torn up, and now the grandma is now blaming the father. She went off on this Facebook rant. We'll talk about it all, I'm telling you. But she went off on this Facebook rant telling her son-in-law or whatever he is to her to come clean, and that they set her up. They set her up for failure. They came and kidnapped And she said they did a really good job of it too. She said they did a really good job of it. The parents will be on Saturday, I believe about 4:00 Pacific, right here on the lab. We'll talk to the parents. Let me see here. No, he is not confirmed drowned. He's not confirmed anything. Josh, you have also not dealt with the RCMP. No, I haven't. That's true. That's true. I asked Jason flat out what he thought happened. And he told me that he was 50-50 on what happened. But he believes, when I say 50-50 between the abduction and the drowning, but he believes, like I do, that the grandmother knows much more. You know, it's hard to imagine a scenario where she doesn't know more. It's hard to imagine a scenario where the kid just vanished. And to me, like I said, it is possible, but is he really going to make it 2 or 3 blocks to the brook? I mean, are 3-year-olds really capable of doing that? Unfortunately, Nova Scotia lost small towns that make up our province, small towns with a lot of outdated small thinking and a lot of corruption. You know, I don't know about the corruption aspect of it. It would be irresponsible for me to speak on that. When do they start doing a go progression photos? We'll talk about that as well. That's something that Jason and I did discuss as well. Yeah, a child doesn't get abducted without making a sound. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that. 20-second head start. 2 blocks? Yeah, I don't know if he could get that far by himself without anyone seeing him. I mean, it's not common for a 3-year-old to be walking down the street by themselves. No footprints that I'm aware of, but they did find the boots. The grandma was allegedly behind the social media that the parents, in fact, had shut down. And that's all I'm going to say. The grandma was, they did sue a social media group, a social media page of 17,000 people that were quote unquote cyberbullying. They got it shut down. And that's how, a lot of people pile on in these. And I could understand. No, it didn't take off the boots. They believe that it came off with him while in the water. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't fall into the water but did he really make it all the way there himself? It's just that doesn't make much sense. She said like less than 20 seconds. I don't know. First boot was caught up in a shopping cart. Jason was curious as to why Dylan didn't caught there too. And they did, however, they did use a weighted dummy to see if it could make its way out into the bay and eventually ocean. And apparently the longer it sat there, eventually it did. The boots didn't, because they said that the boots weren't heavy enough to make it through, and that the water was unusually high that day. It was unusually high that day. Take a look here. Now this, I mean, this looks to be, a much, kind of neighborhood, lots of houses or country. I mean, it's not that big of a town. That's the thing. It's not that big of a town, but anyway, this is the brook that, as you can see, there are rapids. But this flows into a river. So, I mean, it is definitely possible. Just a really odd story. Yeah, a mannequin didn't get too far in the brook. It kept getting caught up. So they tried in the Salmon River, and I guess succeeded. If the boots were too big for them, they would have flown off. Josh, timeout, 20 seconds to get an idea how long it is. Okay, you want me to be quiet for... Dead air is usually not good when you're doing a show, but for dramatic effect, I guess we could set a 20-second timer. The things I do for you guys. Just kidding. Siri, set a 20-second timer.
20 seconds, starting now.
All right, there it was, 20 seconds. He'd be right outside the gate or whatever it was. 20 seconds. It's not that far. It's not that long. 20 seconds. And yeah. I don't think he made it to the water myself. I don't think he made it there by himself. He'd be running like right off the road. I just don't understand how. I don't understand the theory that he could make it that far, that fast. No, I mean, and then he just happens to stumble onto the creek. I don't know. Thank you. She didn't say exactly 20 seconds. I think she said less than 20 seconds. Yeah, if a dog reacting to a stranger, the grandmother would be fighting with the dog. That's true. If the little boy was taken to the brook a few times, he would know how to get there. If not, why would he go that way? The grandmother being on longer than 18 seconds. If the little boy was taken to the brook a few times, he would know how to get there. I mean, he's 3 years old. I don't know. I'm not sure if I agree with you, but I do respect what you're saying. But I don't believe that could be the case. I really don't. I think she underestimates the time. We lose concept of time when we're doing something. She's the one that said it. She could have said 5 minutes. Oops, sorry. I don't believe so. In another interview, the dad said the grandma was supposed to keep him on those kid tethers because he was so fast. And we'll ask Jason about that as well. That's true. Grandma said the brook wasn't there. Yeah, he searches every day. Well, sorry, every weekend. He searches every single weekend. Josh, there are a lot of houses in that area where grandma lives. I mean, it's just a normal neighborhood. It's not like, yeah, it's just a normal neighborhood, really, to be honest with you. Let me see here. The grandmother seems sketchy from what I've seen, and I hear circus music. Thank you so much for that super chat. Always appreciated. Thank you for being a great supporter of this channel. Let me see, reading some more comments here. My brother's granddaughter at that age was constantly in a stream of puddles. She was attracted to water. A lot of kids are attracted to water. I would never say that, that's not, especially if he could hear it, he could probably get there easy. I don't know if he could hear it from there, but the one thing that is constant is that they do say that, I don't know, that he was attracted to water. That's what they say. The growth around this river is thick, and he was basically a toddler, 3-year-old running through thick shrubs. I don't think he could get through. Like I said, my initial thought, and I kind of still think that I don't understand how the grandma wouldn't know that there was a brook down there or about the river, since she's the one that just lived right down the road from it. And so to me, that's kind of a red flag when she says, well, I didn't even know there's a brook there. Could she have taken him down there? Could they have been on a walk with the dog? That is something that I think could have happened. He falls in and you set the story up. Seems like a likely scenario, but there's no proof of that. That's just major speculation on my part. But it always seems to be that when these kids go missing, it's the first thing that they say is abduction. The police feel that he drowned, that he wandered off. They're happy to call it with no foul play, right? Very, very quick, no foul play. But that wasn't good enough for the parents. The parents are the ones that want to keep this open. They're the ones that want to keep it going. And so I would have a really, really tough time thinking that they would have anything to do with the actual disappearance of the young man. Little boy, really, is what he is. Just a baby. I don't know, man. We're talking about cases. Not all grandmas are good people. And I'm not saying that this isn't. I don't know this lady. I've never talked to this lady. I don't know anything about her. We'll ask Jason and his wife or girlfriend about that situation, and they'll answer those questions that they want to answer. And then, like I reiterate here, I do hope and pray that everybody, and I know this group of people and the people that are very interested in this, we will be respectful. You can have your opinions. Nobody's saying that you can't, but if you're here to call people a murderer, that's not really going to fly. I'm not going to let that happen. If you have questions, we will ask them, but we'll do so in a respectable way. So the grandma lost her grandson. What a cross to bear. Yes, It is. Mystery may, well, this is more of an at, but I'm going to read it anyway. I ran off from my aunt's house 3 years old. I was told a duck pond because it was a novelty and I wanted to feed the ducks. So it makes me wonder if he would be attracted to it in a similar way. He was attracted to water. And True Crime with Eve says, who was the last he was with? And 2, what happened leading up to his disappearance? 3, does it make sense? Kids living in small towns have loads of freedom and GM. Yeah, probably. Maybe. I say probably. It's possible. If there were problems between the parents, could grandma have taken matters into her own hands and taken grandson away to a better home life? There just doesn't seem to be any evidence that points to something like that. But a lot of 3-year-old runaways in the chat tonight. I ran off when I was 3 to visit my aunt's house. Does that mean an hour and a half away? Oh, sorry, mile and a half away. I don't know if I ran off when I was 3. I had bigger problems. No, grandma's story doesn't make sense to me. Now the pieces fall together. Grandma putting the lead on the dog means walk to me. I can't believe grandma didn't know the brook was there. I think walk with grandma fits here. That's my opinion. I agree with you. And it's a respectful opinion. So I'm with it. I mean, it does make sense. I'm a grandma myself, and I just can't imagine losing my grandchild that way as we lost my granddaughter, Navia, to SIDS 7 years ago. The not knowing would kill me, and that's all there is. I agree with you there. The not knowing is what makes everything so tough. Yeah, the fact that there's 2 people in the chat right now that say that they both ran away when they're 3. I ran from my mom's to my dad's. Well, I mean, I can see that. And Susan Becker, thank you so much for that. Very appreciated. True Crime with Eve says, I went to the gas station down the street at 6 for some Big League Chew bubble gum. But at least you were, compared to all the other people in the chat, you were all grown up. Mary, hi Mary, how are you? Hi Josh, I've been here for a few. I went back and was watching the first of it. What kind of dog? Because if it's an abduction, the dog would have noticed someone and start acting up. Yeah, I don't know what kind of dog, but those are all questions that we're gonna ask, and it's gonna be an interesting show to say the least. I'm not trying to trap anybody up or jam them up or whatever you feel. My nephew followed his feast dog, that field dog, into the woods at 3 hours later. They came home. I'm telling you, man. Hey, the lab, wait till you find out the family's lawyer's name. It will make your jaw drop. Why don't you just tell me? I would like to know. Maybe the 18 seconds. That's yeah, of course. That's totally possible. Honey Hush says, I am with Lori Goodner. I would be unable to function if it were mine, and he disappeared, especially in my care. Allison Harris. Allison Harris. Am I missing something here? Why is my jaw not dropping? What happened here? Allison Harris. Who is that? Oh yeah, I've seen her before. Yeah, what about her? Oh God. Interesting. No, it's no, Allie is not the lawyer. But Hunter's mom is not the lawyer. Okay, I get it though. I understand now. My bad. We get it's not really a joke, but we get it now. I get it. Huh. I don't know, man. There's just a lot of yeah. Allison Harris. Weird. No, Allie is not in Summer's case. He was no, absolutely. Yeah. Who would be? I mean, can't functioning is just, that's out the window. If Allie has a law degree, we're all in trouble. Yeah. I don't think, yeah. Just the same. You never know. You really never know, like, when you're gonna go off track and then just get railroaded. Because I like I don't know. I don't really. What is it? It's always awesome to see you, Mary. Go over to Mary Hartman's Dinner, Drinks, and Tasty Treats, and subscribe and watch her videos. She's absolutely great. And I'm gonna I need next show I will, because I'm gonna post the sign that you sent me up in here, and I will show it off to the world. I don't know if she thinks she's good at confusing the heck out of a jury, so she may be really good. If she were the lawyer, I mean, then she'd be a lawyer. Right? No? Yes, no? I don't know. Yes, this weekend, Mary is having her daughter on again. Let's go. I don't know the answer to that question, but I'll try to find out for you. And if you guys have any questions that you want me to ask, feel free to email me and I'll try to work them in as the interview is going along. Yep. So tune in for Mary as well. You guys, thank you for being here. This is just the opening to the story. Much more to come on this case, and we'll see you tomorrow, but Saturday we pick this one back up. Thank you for being here.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
There is not, really? This to me.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about
I'm gonna
the
do
boys.
what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
It's not really. It is to me. Right, idiot.
I've done my best. It's hard, you know, that's real tough.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
There is no investigation. This boy has.
It's not really. It is to me. But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys. But I have to.
There is no investigation.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her. But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.